is going on? This is AlTone and welcome back to the channel and another speedrun video. So Bargain Bashers RC, again, thank you for putting on the speedrun challenge, and as you see from the thumbnail, I have been able to beat my last speed with this car, the 9201E from DEERC, and I think it's absolutely phenomenal. After I share with you the speedrun footage, I will talk about this car a little bit, as well as, I don't know how well you can see this. I've got a couple of other vehicles here on the desk here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each one of them and how they kind of play into everything that I'm doing as far as RC cars here on this channel. So let's check it out. We're down to back on zero again, track and start. We're going to run this guy one more time, all the way up and back. We actually just hit 47 miles an hour, which I think is really cool. I've been running this battery just a little bit, so I know this is not okay. This is gonna have to be the last run. I know it's crazy. Okay, almost full throttle. And we're gonna do this again. Okay, coming back to us. All right, let's see what she did. Stop, read, 48. So a little bit more throttle management. I was able to keep the tires down a little bit longer. 48 miles an hour, and we are still not full throttle. So that is awesome. Inching up, I like it. Consistent 46s. Our battery is pretty much done, so we're not going to run this on that same battery anymore today. So that's going to be it. 46. Still on the 3S. The only thing I've done is upgrade the suspension and the tires. The tires aren't ballooning as much. They seem to be gripping fine. The car is just handling a little bit better. We're able to keep the front up down just a little bit more, and I actually did, that's one thing I forgot to mention, I added weight to the nose. So we are now hitting 48 miles an hour, and that is awesome. The battery, this battery's basically had it, so we can't run this battery anymore, because we run the risk of destroying this battery, and I don't want to do that. I like these batteries. They seem to be performing very well and giving me the power that I need in order to be able to get the speed that I want to get. So really happy with that. So that is the speed run. I was actually able to get it to go a little bit faster. There's some very minor upgrades I've done to this car in order to make that happen. And so let's take a look at the car real quick, and I'll just share a couple of those things with you, and then give you some additional updates on the channel and things that we're going to have going on between now and possibly January 1st. First of all, I did put very sloppily put a few little vents in the top to let some air escape from the top of the car, just in case it was parachuting a little bit or hurting the car when it comes to trying to keep the front tires down. So I did that. I'm going to clean that up a little bit, make it look a little bit better. I also had to trim out the wheel wells just a little bit and raise the body for the new tires that I put on the car. If you take a look, I'll just sit that right there. I hate to sit that on top of that, but that's okay. If you take a look, new shocks on here. These are upgraded shocks. They haven't done a ton, but they have actually helped the suspension handling just a little bit. The car can still bottom out, but I do have it adjusted so it's a little bit harder for the back end to bottom out. So I've actually screwed down the shocks here in the back, and I'll put them in a little bit different position to actually put a little bit more down force on the tires to keep them from bottoming out in the back. And then I've actually put my shocks in the front. And of course, we've upgraded the tires. These tires are really nice tires that have foam in them, and they actually don't balloon quite as much. They do just a hair getting up to top speed, but they actually don't balloon quite as much. And here in the front, I've actually added a full ounce of weight here in the front, and that has also helped with keeping the front tires down. So essentially what has happened is I haven't really added speed to the car. All I've done is added a little bit of weight, a little bit of suspension, and a little bit better tires on it. So it is actually able to keep the front tires down a little bit longer. So I'm able to squeeze the throttle just a little bit more and still keep the front tires down, which is allowing this car to get a little bit faster. She's got way too much power, so the torque is actually raising the front end up, which means I'm actually going to add a little bit more weight to the front of this, and I have a couple of other tricks, including adding a wheelie bar. I'm actually in the process of designing my own. I've decided not to purchase one because the wheelie bars that they have for them basically keeps the car from flipping over because the wheel is actually sitting up high. I'm actually going to 3D print. I've designed something that will attach to this back bumper and add some downforce to the nose of the car to keep the front wheels down so I maintain my steering. As I'm doing so, one of the other things is the steering is a little loose. You see there's a lot of play in there. It's not because of the servo. It's just a lot of looseness going on here. So I may try to see if I can figure out how to add a little bit of firmness to the steering overall. And again, I may also try to see how I can add a little bit more weight to the nose of the car just to keep it down. But that's pretty much it. So again, once I go over 50, once I hit that 50-mile-an-hour PB with this vehicle, I'm basically going to call it. I'm not going to worry about this anymore because I do have another one that I'll be working on. So let's put this aside real quick, and I will share with you just a few other things that are going on the channel. I do have some other projects that I'm working on, as well as I'm also reviewing some other cars. I do have this guy whose top speed currently, this is the H16E. Top speed on this guy is 45 miles an hour. I plan on, the gear is slipping right now. I need to go in there, pull the motor out, do some work to that, and get that gear back on point and try to do another run with this. That'll probably happen next year. You do, in case you haven't seen it, hopefully you recognize this awesome car, Tamiya MF-01X, and this was my nice little paint job here. Some of the paint is flaking because it's not all Tamiya paint. The black is, but the red is not. But it is holding up pretty well. And I have to say, with the tires and the way I have the motor set up, I actually plan on doing some adjustments to the motor. It's going to slow it down a little bit, but I don't care. And this guy is going to be running. I'm just going to have fun with it. It's going to be a somewhat shelf queen for a little while, but whenever I feel like taking it out and running it, I'll be taking it out and running it. This one was an absolute fantastic build, and I'm looking at doing some more Tamiya vehicles next year. I want to do a crawler from Tamiya, and I want to do another basher. I may even do another rally car, speedrun challenge type vehicle from Tamiya as well. We'll see, but I do want to do that. And so that's the reason why I have this guy out here. Most of my vehicles are going to continue to be controlled by this particular controller. I do have a couple of more receivers, and the next receiver that I have is actually going into my next speedrun car for this channel, which is the Relarlo AK917. I know that this guy can do some phenomenal speeds if you put the right electronics in it and it's set up correctly. There are many people that are doing well over 150 miles per hour with this car. I don't have currently the space. I'm looking for a place that I can actually run it like that, but right now I don't currently have the space to be able to get that kind of speed out of it. My goal for this car is to be able to try to at least, well, my goal is to hit 100. However, with this car right now, with the space that I have, I'm going to have to see how close I can get to that before I absolutely have to find another place I can run this car, have more space to be able to get the speed up. But right now, I've got pretty much everything I need except for, and in case you don't know that, if you order the roller, it does not come with a light controller because it doesn't come with the receiver. And the receiver is actually what has the built-in light controller for this car. So you're going to have to find other options if you're going to put in any other different receiver and that kind of thing. And I do have a trick up my sleeve for that. I will have the lights working on the car. However, they will not be functioning as turn signals and all of that the way it normally would. Their turn signals are not going to be functioning, at least not initially in the back. I may decide to do some upgrades and work on that in the future, but for right now, it's just going to be all lights on, including the exhaust lights in the rear. So I'm going to have those set up and plugged in. They won't be on channel 3 because channel 3 will be controlling my gyro and my receiver, but most likely 4 or 5, I'll probably have that set up on one of those channels. But this is going to be what I'll be working on for the remainder of the year. Hopefully sometime in January I'll be able to, I'm pretty sure before January, I'll be able to get this guy out and do some runs with it. So that's one of the things I'll be doing. Not only that, but the Furking. Let's talk about the Furking for a minute. I've gone through and I've adjusted timing on the ESCs. I actually tried putting a different or larger ESC in there to get the pulsation in the motors taken care of. None of those things have actually worked. So the only thing I can think of is maybe the motor is being overpowered and it can't handle that. I still have not, and I've talked to people and no one has been able to tell me. And it's kind of surprising. Yeah, it's like, you can't tell me that no one has experienced that pulsation in the motors. So what I intend on doing is I'm going to take it out. She's back together, ready to fly. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to fly it the way it is with the motors pulsating. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some endpoint adjustment on my throttle. So I'm going to adjust the throttle up to the point where it's just barely starting to pulsate with a full battery. And then I will take it out and fly it. One of the other things I may do is check the rating on the ESCs as well as on the motors. If they can handle better than a 4S battery, I may consider putting a larger battery on it, like a 6S, just to see. But that's going to, because of the size of the battery, it's going to greatly or drastically decrease my flight time. So I'm going to have to look at that. But essentially, that's where we're at. That's what's going on the channel right now. We'll see how quickly I can get additional videos out for you. I'll be working on some things. I really appreciate you coming by and checking things out and whatnot with me. I look forward to sharing so much more with you in the future. Of course, thanks to the sponsors of the channel. You're welcome to be a sponsor of the channel, and how you'll do that is by using the affiliate links down in the description to make some purchases on any of the products that either you see there, or just using the links in order to make any other purchases that will absolutely help this channel out. Thank you so much for stopping by again. I really appreciate you. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Take care.